Hey, welcome to the show. It's the 5th of July 2021, and these are a bunch of stories which I find interesting, or I think you might find interesting from the last week, or possibly weren't really all that reported. And that's a really nice segue into this first story, which is Julian Assange, who was in the news a lot last week, but not really. And that might be for the better. And we should start by talking about Siggi Thoroddsen, an Icelandic national. It's been reported last week that he's a key witness in the US Department of Justice's case against Julian Assange. And that was all a while back, but the reason that he's in the news now is because he was recently interviewed by Icelandic newspaper Stunden, which resulted in a very lengthy and detailed article, which I'm going to link below, but I'm about to give you the cliff notes. In a sentence, he says his case was all lies for immunity. He lied. Now, just as a sidebar, I don't know this paper, Stunden. It's not a main one. It's only 5 years old. It was founded by ex-staff of a troubled and very shit newspaper called DV. So I'm going to proceed with caution with this. On the other hand, WikiLeaks did tweet the story, so they support it. Edward Snowden also tweeted it, saying that it's the end of the case against Julian Assange. Also, Assange's legal advisor spoke about it on Democracy Now! Last week, but I'll come back to that soon. In the interest of brevity, Thoroddsen is a criminal. He was convicted in 2013 and 2014 for various fraud and theft charges. He's a pedophile who tricked boys into performing acts on each other. He was diagnosed by the court as a sociopath. Now, he's involved in this story because he was also involved in WikiLeaks, in which he claims that he was of some importance. And that's what he used as a bargaining chip with the FBI back in 2011 for immunity from all these charges. In this interview, he's since admitted that he inflated his position in WikiLeaks, and he inflated his position and relationship with Assange. The article stating that in WikiLeaks, he merely volunteered on a limited basis to raise money for WikiLeaks in 2010 and was found to have used that opportunity to embezzle more than $50,000 from the organization. Which explains why they tweeted the article. They want his head, basically. Now, you'll have to read the article on your own. It goes through a myriad of incidents where he only really acted on his own in the name of WikiLeaks, as opposed to acting on the orders of Assange, as he stated in his testimony to the FBI. Now, there is one part of the article where he does admit that Assange was possibly aware, maybe even indirectly encouraged DDoS attacks on Icelandic government websites. The article says that although he explains this as something Assange was aware of or that he had interpreted so that this was expected of him. But you know what, back to whether or not this is real, call me skeptical, but whenever I get into any sort of Assange, Edward Snowden news, I know that I'm creeping into conspiracy theorist territory, and they're flypaper for conspiracy theorists, which only makes me more skeptical. And also, this article has zero quotes, no transcripts of the interview, no sit-down shots. Maybe it was done over Zoom. Do we have a screenshot? But nothing really to prove to me that this isn't just a bunch of words that somebody wrote. But my biggest red flag is that it's been 9 days and not one reputable source has acknowledged this article, cited this article, talked about this story. How is that possible? It's zero. It's just been an echo chamber of other lesser known websites and other members of the hacker community, with Stunden just at the center of it all. I'm not saying disregard it. In fact, I'm encouraging you to read it. But I'm just saying let's tread with some caution. And the only reason I'm even considering this is because of John Pilger, veteran British Australian journalist John Pilger, who on Saturday at a rally said that he condemned the international press for its silence on the most recent development in the Assange case, which he said indicates that the case against Assange has collapsed. And he's talking about this article there. And that leads me to the second thing, is that Pilger was there celebrating Assange's 50th birthday and his 3rd year in jail. It's been 3 years. I was skeptical. I was like, this article has 3 years wrong. He was joined there by Assange's fiancée Stella Maurice and a measly chorus of supporters on the lawn across the road from the UK House of Parliament. They were all calling for his release. And the third and final thing is that Stella also announced, last week was Assange's week. Stella also announced that they'd be getting married in prison, which is, super nice. And also drop a like below if you realize that I didn't put the right photo up here. This is Edward Snowden. Did you notice? In this next one, there are two things I learned while researching why the hashtag #WeLoveYouLiam was trending on Twitter over the weekend. Number one, that Liam Payne, is hella cut up about dumping model, fiance, girlfriend Maya Henry after a 10-month engagement. And two, that he was in One Direction. Oh, 10 minutes. I am old. But that was a month ago, and I was like, why do we love Liam? He didn't die, did he? Is what I was wondering. But no, what he did on Sunday morning was he posted a bunch of cryptic shit on Instagram like an angsty teenage boy. He's not a teenager, is he? Hey Google, how old is Liam Payne from One Direction?
He's 27 years old.
Oh. Yeah, he is. He's a teenage boy. He posted, number one, don't let someone go if you really want to love them, even if you have to learn to love them through your own mistakes. Let your instinct tell you that you need them and keep them close. We are always running out of time. We never gain it. It's true. I think that's really wise. Actually, he thinks it's really wise too, because his next post was, fuck me, I'm wise. And then in the third story, just to bolster the case, he tagged Maya Henry and then followed that up with, I love you, we calm. I don't even understand what that means. I'm old. I mean, even though he is like a bit of a teenager, somebody posting all that angsty shit, he actually is a father who he had with an X Factor judge, Cheryl, who he met on the show while auditioning in 2009. I mean, he didn't have it with her in 2009 because that would make him like 18. But she waited until she left her second husband in 2016. That's when they had that kid. I mean, this celebrity news shit is really fun when their lives are a mess. And the third story, and the reason that Liam Payne shit, I don't care about Liam Payne. The only reason I put that there was because I can't put Julian Assange story next to this story because the New South Wales Police are stealing our shit. And I just don't want to look like a tin hat man, you know, conspiracy theorist. This is going to be a conspiracy theory video if I didn't talk about One Direction. So it came to light on Thursday that the New South Wales Police have been clamoring to beef up their facial recognition technology in capturing criminals. Now, in spite of legislation being blocked back in 2019, which would have allowed them to include our passport photos in that system, the New South Wales Popo were kind of like, well, we're fucking doing it anyway, because we are the police. Which, you know, they actually are the police. When they say that, they are police. The impetus to that being blocked is that the Australian government for years have been trying to get a system together, trying to wrangle together all state and federal photos and documents for a system called The Capability, which really should just be a movie that stars Matt Damon. But not really. And the reason that refusal matters is because, as this article states, it is the first time since 2002 that Parliament's Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security has recommended legislation be withdrawn, and then they had to redraft and all that. That hasn't happened in a long time. And the reason this matters, the reason they're concerned, is because this paves the way for live facial recognition like in CCTV, which is a classic concern in the West after what's been going on in China and how they've stuck their dirty fingers all over Hong Kong with the protesters, identifying protesters through CCTV. And in response to the proposal of this legislation back in 2019, the Australian Privacy Foundation said that we are on our way to automated and real-time surveillance of public spaces. And of course, the government says it's only going to be used by police and anti-corruption and national security agencies, and saying it cannot be used to investigate minor offences or live facial recognition, as we're all concerned about. And yeah, that's all fine until you do start doing that. And that's all that people are asking for, is a list of the cans and cannots of the capability. If you want something to be passed, don't call it the capability. It just sounds sinister. Anyway, that's enough for that, and that's enough for today's show. That's it. That's all. So drop a like below, drop some comments below. Let me know what you think of Assange, what you think of One Direction, Liam Payne. What's a Liam Payne song? Hey Google, play Liam Payne on Spotify. Midnight.
Time and your waste is not wasted time. So
Ooh.
and I've been keeping to myself. I had my
Shit, I actually like this.
You know good since the day I met you, yeah. Sipping lightly when I walk inside.
Fuck. Alright, that's enough of that. Yeah, any comments? Well, drop your conspiracy theories below. I love a conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that they're not true. I just, Anyway, until Friday, Monday, whenever I get around to posting, in a week. You'll hear from me in a week. Bye for now.
Oh, you dirty boy, you. Oh. Donald, I thought you were a gentleman.